I want to make this video and show you the steps and kind of document the process. I'm learning how to screen print using different printing methods. I posted some movie posters on Facebook and asked you which one you wanted to see made into a shirt. And a few of you selected this awesome recreation by this French artist, Fleur McQuinn. And she recreates movie posters. So let me show you what I've done. So I'm working with a new process called CMYK, and you've seen it whether you know it or not, but newspapers use this. So the upside to using CMYK instead of the traditional printing process, in the traditional printing process, I would have to find each color. So each shade of red, each shade, we would have to find that ink. In other words, we were actually, one for one building out this image. And for each image, I'll show you later in the process, we have to build a screen for it. And so it becomes too costly for most images. So I'm trying to learn how to do what's called CMYK. Okay, so for each color channel, I made some, the artwork I got off of Pinterest wasn't the best artwork. It may look good on your computer, but once I blow it up and upscale it to a 10.5 inches wide, a lot of the picture kind of degrades. So I did some minor editing on each channel. And I'm not sure if you know how screen printing works, but for each color channel, we print out transparencies and then we make a template. So I'm going to print out each one of these, and this is what it's going to look like. And so they're all going to print out black and white, or just black ink on a special printer on a transparency. And you can see I'm making a stencil. So it's basically, I tell people, like when the kids would spray paint addresses on the curbs, you make the stencil for the number, and you just spray paint, and the paint can only go through the number 7, let's say. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making this stencil for each color. So that way, when I do print out on the printing press, just cyan, only that color will push through. And when you put each color together, it will make the poster. Kind of like the old the encyclopedias. In the back of the encyclopedias, you could see the layers of the human body. So then we get each transparency, and I tape it to a screen. Now this screen has light sensitive photo emulsion on it, and I'm going to show you a video. So for each screen, and I'm showing you this video from this is how I learned how to screen print, watching this YouTube video from I believe it's Bob. I think it's Maggiano. Awesome guy. Talked to him on the phone, and this is how I learned. So we use this ink in this video. He's showing pink. I use green. No big deal. But you put this. It's almost like Elmer's glue. This photo emulsion, and you put it on a screen, and then you let it dry. You put it on each side, let it dry. Okay, so that takes a while. I didn't video this process, but for each screen, for each color, we need to build out one of these screens. That's why screen printers charge more for each screen you use. So now I tape the photo positive onto a screen, and I'm in a light sensitive room. And here I'm using what's called an exposure unit. In the old days, they would just use the sun. But what you're doing is you've got this, it's almost like developing film. I'm going to burn an image using UV light, and that light is going to burn that stencil, and it's got to be airtight. I think here in the video somewhere I show you. Here it is. So it's got to be airtight, so there's a vacuum seal, and once it's airtight, I expose that particular stencil to the UV light for a certain amount of time. 50 seconds in this case. And then once I'm done, and mind you, this cannot hit light or else it'll ruin the whole thing. So once I'm done, I go to a washroom that also has a yellow light, so no light can hit it. And what I'm doing is, so that stencil's being burned and made. So what's coming off when I spray it, the ink that wasn't burned is coming off. I'm sorry, the emulsion that wasn't burned is coming off. That way, the holes make room for the ink. So this is kind of like a screen door mesh. So I'm just making my stencil. So each color gets its own stencil, and it'll make sense in a second. Once that's all done for 4 screens, I come down to the printing press, and we have to align those 4 images because there's the board where the t-shirt goes, there's your screen, and everything has to line up perfect. All 4 of those colors have to line up perfect. So you'll see the arrows here. Each printing press has a selection of adjustments, and I've got to get these lined up on the printing press for each color. So I do this. It has to be exact, or else the print won't work out. And so once everything is aligned, then we put tape over the little cross marks so that way the ink won't come through. And so the yellow part is actually clear, and meaning that paint can go through it. It's almost, if I poured water, the water would go through that yellow part, and the green part is solid. So once I push this Plastisol ink, then it'll make the image. So now I've put some spray adhesive, and I've put a white t-shirt. I put the adhesive on there because sometimes when you're printing, the t-shirt will stick and move, and you can't have that shirt move or else it'll blur the image. So I put some yellow, and I'm pushing that ink through. And you'll see there's that stencil. Only the ink that matched that color of yellow came through. Right now it doesn't make sense, but as we go through the process, so that there is the magenta. And this ink is still wet. So as the magenta hits that yellow in the right strength, it'll start to make different colors. And as you can see, the image is starting to come out. This is when I start getting excited because I'm like, okay, it looks good. It's working. Now for this particular print, when that cyan hits that yellow, you get that turquoise green, and you'll see it right here. It's really awesome. So now I know that everything is good. Now we're going to hit it with black ink, which is really going to make it crisp and show the outline and make that hair dark and make all those little shadows dark. And there it is. Pretty cool, huh? I was pretty excited. So there it is. That is actually a picture of the white t-shirt of the print. So hope you enjoyed it.